Petting a dog's head can be a big mistake. In this video, we'll explore in detail the issues with petting your dog's head, how to identify signs that your dog is uncomfortable with the way you're petting them, and, of course, we'll show you how to properly pet your dog and other dogs you encounter. But before we begin, I must note, every dog is different, and this video addresses a general trend, so whether your dog likes or dislikes these touches will depend greatly on them, their breed, and their past experiences. With that in mind, let's dive in. A dog's head may seem like the natural place to pet, especially because it's usually the highest part of the dog's body, and most dogs are much smaller than most humans. Additionally, we are used to touching people's heads as a gesture of affection, whether it's petting children, ruffling a friend's hair, or even touching a partner's face before a kiss. Humans associate head touches, at least with those we are close to, with love and affection. Therefore, it might seem natural to assume our dogs feel the same. Thus, it's easy to think that dogs enjoy this too. But the reality can be quite different, and you need to understand how your dog truly perceives this situation. From your dog's point of view, things aren't so simple. Remember that just as dogs may seem small and cute to us, we humans appear large and even intimidating to them. Our bipedal stance means that we loom over even the largest dogs, and petting a dog's head involves leaning over them, which can be perceived as a threatening action. Some dogs will learn to tolerate or even enjoy this gesture as part of the strange human way of being, but it's certainly not something that naturally appeals to them. The truth is that many dogs may feel uncomfortable, stressed, or even scared when someone approaches their head to pet them. Now, you might think that it's easy to tell when a dog is unhappy. After all, they growl and show their teeth, right? Well, yes, but that's just the last resort. Before that, dogs give several other signs that they are uncomfortable or stressed. Signs that are much less obvious but that you need to learn to recognize to ensure your dog's well-being. Sign 1. This is the most obvious. If your dog lowers their head when you approach or tries to pull away entirely, this is a clear indication that they are not enjoying the experience and want you to stop. Respect these boundaries they are trying to set, and avoid insisting on petting them when they clearly don't want it. Sign 2 involves your dog's ears. A dog's ears are an excellent indicator of their emotional state. When a dog is unhappy, uncomfortable, or irritated, their ears tend to pull back. This ear position is a clear sign that your dog is not pleased with the situation. Pay attention to this detail, as it can tell you a lot about how your dog is feeling. Sign number 3 is a bit more subtle and involves what we call displacement behavior. This is a behavior that appears when a person or animal feels they need to do one thing, but chooses to suppress that impulse. The classic example in humans is a young child squirming in their seat because they need to go to the bathroom but want to keep playing, so they try to ignore the need. This discomfort leads to constant fidgeting. For a dog, displacement behaviors can manifest when a human is doing something they don't like. They want to pull away or try to make the human stop, but they also want to be a good dog. So they suppress the impulse and redirect their energy into a displacement behavior. The most common displacement behaviors in dogs are licking their lips and yawning. If you notice that your dog is displaying these behaviors while you're petting them, it could be a sign that they are not enjoying the situation. Sign number 4 is something many dog guardians find adorable, but is actually a sign of stress. You know that thing your dog does when they roll their eyes back or to the side so you can see a crescent moon of white appearing behind the iris? This is called whale eye, or moon eye. Unfortunately, this is a little less cute than you might have thought. Whale eye is actually a sign of stress or irritation in dogs. So, if you notice your dog showing this behavior, it's time to reconsider how you're interacting with them. Now that you know these signs, let's talk about how you should properly pet your dog. First, when approaching to pet, try to come from the side rather than the front. Your dog will perceive this as less confrontational, which will make them feel less threatened. Next, start by petting their shoulders, an area that dogs generally consider safer and more pleasant. Pay attention to their body language and also how tense they are. If they seem to stiffen up at your touch, then they're probably not in the mood to be petted. If they relax, it's fine to continue. Move down your dog's spine towards the base of their tail. Many dogs love being petted there specifically, and some even turn while being petted to encourage the human to continue in that spot. The only exception to the no head petting rule is the area just behind the ears. This is a spot that's hard for a dog to reach on their own and has many nerve endings. So many dogs enjoy being scratched there. However, only do this with a dog you've already built a strong bond with, to avoid causing unnecessary discomfort or stress. But what about when you encounter a dog you don't know? How should you proceed? First of all, never pet a stranger's dog without permission. You don't know this dog. They may be nervous, they may be reactive, and the owner will know whether it's safe to pet them. Also, it's simply polite to ask before petting someone else's dog. After getting permission, extend your hand towards the dog's nose, but don't touch them. Leave a space between the nose and your hand and wait for the dog to close that gap. If they pull away, that means you should pull away too. The dog doesn't want you to pet them. If they approach, however, they'll greet you by sniffing your hand. Dogs can pick up all kinds of information about humans and other dogs by scent, including emotional state. Sniffing your hand gives the dog a general idea of how you are. Once they understand you're not a threat, you can proceed to pet the dog. Again, avoid the head and focus on the shoulders. With a stranger's dog, it's best not to go beyond this as they don't know you and are likely to be less willing to allow you to touch other parts of their body. Now, how can we prevent strangers from petting our dogs inappropriately? The answer is simple. Advocate for your dog. Your dog may not be able to communicate where they like to be petted, but you can do that for them. When a stranger approaches your dog, say whether it's okay to pet them. And remember that it's always perfectly acceptable to say no when it benefits your dog's well-being. Then simply add, "She prefers to be petted on the shoulders." Most strangers approaching your dog will be people who like dogs and want their interaction with yours to be positive. They'll likely be more than happy to comply with your request. Are you enjoying the video and want to see more videos like this? Then please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you'll always know when I post a new video. Finally, it's important to know what other areas to avoid when petting our dogs. Most dogs do not appreciate being petted on their tail or paws. The tail, because it is very connected to the spinal cord, and therefore tail injuries can easily become neurological issues. For this reason, dogs, like most animals, are very protective of their tails. The paws, for a more obvious reason, it's the same reason you wouldn't want someone suddenly grabbing one of your feet. Your dog will feel unbalanced. Additionally, paws have many nerve endings, which can make them sensitive to touch. What other mistakes do people make when petting their dogs? There are two common mistakes humans make when petting their dogs. Mistake 1. While it may be pleasant for you when you give your furry baby a hug or place your hands on their cheeks, most dogs won't appreciate any form of petting that makes them feel restrained. Even if they don't want to pull away, it makes them feel better knowing they can if they want to. Mistake 2. Petting a dog shouldn't last too long. Experts recommend petting quickly for a few seconds, then pausing for a few more seconds to give the dog a chance to pull away if they're no longer enjoying it. I emphasize here that every dog, human, and situation is different, so you may have spent a lifetime petting dogs' heads, and nothing bad may have seemingly happened. But your individual experience may not be the same as the billions of people who exist on our planet. Comment below on how your dog reacts to being petted on the head and the rest of their body. I'd love to read all the comments. Before we go, let me ask you, do unknown dogs usually like you? Yes? No? In this video right here on the screen, I explain why this happens. Click on the screen and continue with me in the amazing world of dogs.